Get ready to drop the puck, take a free throw, and step up to the plate. It's time for the Metro East Sports Podcast on lineupmedia.fm.
Okay, sticking with the volleyball theme tonight, we're going to go with Angie Crawford of Waterloo High School for our 3A volleyball team of the year. But first, I got to talk about Cassens Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. Thanks to partner Cassens Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the #1 place to purchase a vehicle in the Metro East. If you're in the market for a new or a pre-owned car, check out Cassens inventory in person where they've been for 25 years or online at cassens.com. Cassens has earned the highest ratings for customer service. Their expert staff is committed to making your car buying experience enjoyable, including convenient on-site financing. I've purchased 4 vehicles there. My daughter drives an IU Red Jeep Cherokee, and my wife and I are on our second Jeep Grand Cherokee. With over 80 years of experience in the Metro East, Cassens is the clear-cut leader for quality, service, and customer satisfaction. Go see Steve, Cliff, Holly, Greg, Bob, Mike, Tony, or Trent today. All right. Angie Crawford, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
How's life in Waterloo?
Fantastic. It's a great small town with a lot of wonderful people who are very supportive and a great place to raise children.
Are you from Waterloo?
I'm originally from Valmeyer.
Okay.
So I didn't go too far.
And you live there now in Waterloo?
We lived in Waterloo for quite some time. We actually bought some property still in the Waterloo School District.
Perfect.
And but it's a Fultz address, but out in the country.
And you said that you told me off mic before we started that you're a teacher at Waterloo High School.
I am a teacher, yes. I've been teaching for 26 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I told you I was old.
I can't believe you're that old. I have to guess you were 25. So if you don't believe me, you can get on YouTube and look at this interview. You can check out Coach Crawford online. You can see she looks like Cindy Crawford. But
Oh, God.
all right, but that's not here what you're talking about. You're here to talk about your awesome 3A volleyball team of the year at Waterloo. Great group of girls, huh?
They are a fantastic group of girls that have tremendous knowledge of the game of volleyball, a great love of the game, and just a passion to compete. Just a fun group. I push them, they push me, and together, we had just a wonderful, legendary run that Waterloo High School has not seen in the volleyball program before.
Well, it's been the last time the girls at Waterloo won a conference championship, you said, was 2009, right?
Correct.
But they were regional champions in 2019.
Correct.
So 2009, over a decade is quite a while.
Correct.
And what put this team over the hump to be able to take care of Highland and CM and Triad, the perennial powerhouses in your conference?
Usually teams have at least 2 strong hitters. I was so fortunate in every rotation. I had 3 strong hitters at the net at all times, except for we originally were running a 6-2, and then I had to run a 5-1 due to an injury with one of my setters. And so my other setter she ran a 5-1. She did her very, very best. It's not something her strongest suit is hitting and blocking, but she gave it everything she had and did a tremendous job running that 5-1.
How many years have you been the head coach at Waterloo?
This was my 11th year at Waterloo.
Okay. Were you someplace before this?
Yes, I have. I started in 96 at Mattoon High School. I was the freshman coach there for 2 years, and then I went to Marissa High School for 1 year as their varsity head coach. Then I went to Valmeyer, and I was there for 12 years. I didn't coach all those years. I had my first son, and when he was 1, decided to retire for a little while, a little mini retirement. Went and got my master's, my administrative degree. Then I had our second son, and when he was about 4, I started coaching junior high ball again, and the rest is history. A job came open at Waterloo where it was going to give me the opportunity to teach health the majority of the day, and that's really my passion, is really reaching kids and giving them power to, be able to take care of themselves, think about their decisions, and helping just to make good people in our community. And And that's a huge passion for me. And I just wanted to take that opportunity, and it got me right back into varsity volleyball again.
It's amazing how similar your story is to Heather Olau's. Heather Olau was just in here from Edwardsville High School. Same thing. Was into coaching, got out of coaching for her children, and then got back into coaching in middle school, and then wound up being a varsity coach. It's just an identical career path. Kind of strange.
I really wasn't planning on it. I really thought I was going to go the administrative route at some point, but I always think that you have a purpose in life. I think what I do ultimately is where I'm supposed to be. I think God gives you those opportunities, and I think that now that I'm especially getting older, I just appreciate so much the opportunity of having this relationship with players. It's so different than just being a teacher, not just, but you just have a connection with kids. So very different than you do as a teacher.
When you're competing.
Exactly.
When you're competing and you're trying to pull together and do this special thing, which is compete in your conference and go to state and qualify for state, it's a different level. I mean, you can do a lot of cool things in the classroom, but this is a little bit different as well.
Yeah. My main thing is, and I know when I started at Waterloo, it was such an issue with self-doubt and, kind of the belief of, well, losing's okay. To some degree. And we push to just really build a mental toughness with these girls, as well as a belief that they will carry with them ultimately to make them strong women. So we really work on, I always do this thing with them, breathing in self-confidence and exhaling self-doubt and closing their eyes and watching their self, doing those skills that they are responsible for perfectly, and building that belief in them, because boy, that is 100%, 95% of the game is believing in yourself and having that power of getting out there and not letting anyone get in your head.
Give me one of these for that. That was so good. It was so good. I've been so lucky for 2 years. Mm-hmm. I've gotten to bring in the best coaches and athletes in the Metro East.
Yeah.
And sometimes they they start talking about this stuff, and I just get so fired up, and I can see that's why you're a great coach. You are empowering these women to believe in themselves, and you're working on mental toughness. Mm-hmm. It's obvious, and it's working. Yes. Right? You had a great year. You had a great year this year.
We had a fantastic year, and and it's really interesting, especially because at the high school level, you get kids who devote their entire life to volleyball, and they're big club players. And, there's all different levels of club. And then you have the kids that really want to be that multi-sport athlete still, or at least 2 high school sports, and they're still playing club, but it's not that aggressive, like I'm going to travel type of club experience. And then you have kids who are, I really enjoy volleyball, but my passion is, for example, softball, and I want to play college softball, but I really want to be in your volleyball program. And so you incorporate all these different investments of the game of volleyball together, and then you get all these different competitive levels together, and you have to jive that. And that was one of our struggles this season, because I had some super competitive girls who will push through and expect the best. And I had some girls that had to realize that, man, we could do that too. And I'm telling you, that's when we took off. Our first beginning of the season there was too much self-doubt going on, not putting that competitive face out there and knowing and believing that we're going to push through. There might be rough moments, but we're going after this together, and we can do anything together.
How do you teach them to put that tough face out there? I tell them, fake it till you make it.
I agree with that. I've always said fake it until you can make it. I believe that 100% too. But I also tell them your teammates are there to pick you up. Don't worry about mistakes. We all make mistakes. I make a mistake. I make mistakes as a coach, and I own up to them. Then we figure out the pieces and we put it back together. Your teammates are on that court with you. They are going to get you through.
And you know what? That's why tennis and golf are so tough.
Yeah.
Because there is nobody out there with you.
No, there's not.
And that's a different kind of toughness, but you're so right. You're out there and you can pick each other up.
Exactly.
Okay. You had good senior leaders this year, right?
Absolutely, yes.
You can't be good without it.
No.
Who were your senior leaders?
We start out, we have the Montgomery twins, Paige Montgomery and Haley Montgomery. They were starters in my program since their freshman year, so they were definitely instrumental people with
4-year starters.
Yes, with guidance.
Say their names again.
Paige Montgomery and Haley Montgomery.
Can you tell them apart?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. You definitely can tell.
I've got twins too that I can tell
do you
apart.
really?
That's awesome. It took me a while, but I can tell Brooklyn and Jessa Earnhardt apart anyway. Took a while.
Yeah, they are. And they are actually, their personalities are extremely different as well. And Ella Bockhorn, she was a vital person that built herself in her freshman year eventually also, and has just been a fantastic player for me as well. She actually has had to play all 3 positions in the front row for me at some point in her high school career, and she did a tremendous job. Ellie Schwer was our setter that ran the 5-1 for me this year. And Maddie Davis was our libero this season. And she was that softball girl that I was talking about, who was actually moving on to play college softball. And she told me, she's like, I know I'm leaving for this, my tournament, and I got to miss some of the summer stuff. But Coach, I'm getting that libero jersey. And I said, okay, you go for it, and she sure did. And Alyssa Grayson was one of our other seniors, and she was a right side hitter. She did get some opportunity to play for us, but she was an instrumental person on the sideline pushing us to have success on the court by her motivation and her intensity level, and that is so valuable to my program.
Yep. Heather Olau, again, just here said the exact same thing. There's you've got 6 girls that are out there on the floor, and you've got girls who don't play all the time but play sometimes, and their attitude on the bench and in practice is infectious.
Yes.
It can bring everybody up or it can tear everybody down.
Exactly.
So kudos to those girls and kudos to your team on bringing everybody together in terms of attitude.
Absolutely.
Did you create that, or was that just who they are?
It's always interesting, especially when you have young girls that play at the varsity level. There's so much growing up that occurs between that freshman age until their senior year. And you really develop, and you have some ups and downs with those kids. I truly believe that, because you get to know them, they get to know you, and then we figure it out together. I think together we created it. That is my honest, heartfelt belief.
So what are you looking forward to next year?
I really feel finally comfortable.
Tough act to follow.
It is, but I finally feel comfortable at Waterloo. I feel like, and I didn't feel that way for a long time, but I feel like we have finally created that climate that I've been so thriving for. And these young girls behind them, I've got some experienced juniors, and I've got some sophomores, and we've got some freshmen and some incoming, I should say also our incoming 8th graders that are going to be very valuable to our program. It's a very hard act to follow. Can you compare? Next year's a brand new year. You start over, you build, and you focus on that year.
How many teams do you have there? Do you have a varsity and a JV?
We have three. Yeah, 3. I run a varsity, I run a JV, and typically I run a Fresh South program. Especially when I'm heavy with seniors and juniors, I just try to give those sophomores they're right there. I don't want to lose them. I want to see what we can give them one more year and try to give them that opportunity to move up next year, that following year to JV.
Do you have to cut?
Yes, I do. But I do conferences with kids, and I tell them what their roles are, and I give them the opportunity to decide, can you stay and handle this and be a positive part of our program? It's up to you entirely. Now, there have been years I've had to cut, and when our numbers have been larger. I've been super blessed. I've had kids that just continually have stuck their hearts into our program, and they're okay with their roles, and our team the numbers have grown. Not every year has it been that way, especially earlier on. Kids don't like to sit the bench. Kids don't like to have that well, if I'm not getting playing time, this is not for me. I've had a much different attitude these past few years.
Sometimes
and I
it's
appreciate
okay.
that.
Sometimes a kid says, you know what, and then they go and they find something else at which they're better.
And I want them, and this is what I always tell them. You only get 4 years in high school. I want you to enjoy those 4 years. I want you to go after what your passion is. And what I really want kids, and I always explain this to them, to remember, what you put in things is what you get out. So many kids just think, well, if I show up, I should have this right. Well, unfortunately, when you get to the high school level, that's not how it works any longer. And then my belief is I have to make the decisions along with my coaching staff to do what's right for the whole and what's fair for the whole. And that is to put our best competitive group out there together.
And what's your story? Did you grow up playing volleyball?
I did. I started it in 4th grade, and I played all the way up through. I got a scholarship to play at Quincy. I played my first year. It was not what I expected. The coach I had signed with left at the last minute. We had a coach that they brought in that never actually played volleyball, didn't know anything about it. She happened to be the assistant basketball coach. Didn't have a really good experience, so I chose to take my vocal scholarship at the same college.
You're a singer.
I used to be.
What?
Yeah, and so
Like what kind of singing?
I did that. Oh, I'm more country, but I'm also I was in musicals and those types of things. But
really?
yes, and I really have.
What musicals?
I was Hello Dolly in my high school career.
Okay, let's hear it.
No, oh God, no.
Come on.
No.
How about a little bit of Crazy, Patsy Cline?
No.
I bet you could do it.
No, I can't do that right now.
So you took a vocal scholarship at Quincy.
I did, my second year. Then I had, they brought in a different coach my 3rd year, and they had asked me to come back and play. And I'm like, I really want to do this. So I was going to go back. And then the flood happened. I'm sure you've heard of that before.
Like Old Testament flood?
No, the flood in Valmeyer, and
the famous Valmeyer flood, the same one in Alton in
90. Yes.
What, 90?
93.
I feel like there was one.
Yes, 93, I think.
In 87.
Yes, there was. So I chose to come back and stay at and be closer to home. Went to Edwardsville. They didn't have a volleyball varsity program then.
So you were coaching?
No. I came back.
Oh, you went to SIU Edwardsville.
Yes, SIU Edwardsville. I transferred, went and played on their club program. They didn't have a varsity program at that time. Played the junior colleges around in the area and decided, I'm not getting out what I really wanted it. People weren't taking it seriously. So then I went back and started helping my high school coach, Carla Bivens, coach and build my resume, and the rest is history.
There you go. And
Yes.
you're loving it.
I am loving it. Yeah.
Well, good luck again next year. I hope
We appreciate it.
I'm sure you're going to compete well.
We will. I've got some strong juniors that are going to come in and be some very strong leaders. So,
and supposedly it's harder to establish the culture than it is to keep it. That's what John Wooden at UCLA said. He said once he established that culture, it was easier to keep that rock rolling downhill. But sounds like you got it going the right direction. I appreciate the good coaching. You made me want to have a coaches clinic. Made me want to have a coaches clinic where you get a chance to stand up and talk about empowering female athletes. We need to have a Metro Esports podcast.
Yes, that's our job.
Coaches clinic. I'm
really blessed because there's so many just extremely fantastic coaches in my conference and actually in the Metro East area.
Totally.
That I just have the utmost respect for.
Yeah. All right. Angie Crawford, Waterloo High School 3A MESPY winner, Team of the Year. Thanks so much for coming by.
We appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Take care.